Yes. I'll come to that in just a bit, but let me hear from Alex. And haven't Kenyans learned the lesson now? And it is true that if you look at majority of the governments that we have had, not just this one, because I want us to move away from just being myopic and looking at what we have today, and looking at the history and what we need to do to also ensure that we cure that history. If you look at the governments that we have had, in the leadership tier, they reflect the government of the day in terms of region representation and all that. But haven't we learned as Kenyans that that does not trickle down to Wanjiko? In other words, it may reflect the government of the day at the top, yes, but that does not mean that you'll not pay more for your githeri tomorrow. It's only those who are at the top who benefit. Haven't we learned that lesson?
Okay, learning a lesson is one thing, and effecting that lesson is another. Of course, we Kenyans learned the hard way in 2007, but have we learned enough? I think we learned, but have we learned enough? To me, I don't think we have learned enough, because the investment, emotional investment in our ethnic extraction is still high in Kenya. Secondly, I think it is also important to ask ourselves, why are we where we are in terms of ethnic investment? The reason why Kenyans feel or invest so heavily in their ethnic extraction, and as I reflected in the top tier of leadership, or what they yearn to be there, is because of poverty. Poverty is one of the key elements. Remember, poverty has its own associates. One of the associates of poverty is insecurity, emotional insecurity, and also financial insecurity. Correct. You feel that unless Uhuru is there, as a Kikuyu, I don't think my tomorrow will be good or secured. Unless Raiga is there, I don't think I, as a Luo, my tomorrow will be secured. So the moment you empower, and that's why empowerment is very important and very key in solving all these problems on ethnic extraction and investment in the same. One, I, as Alex Katundu, I am endowed financially. I do not need to have Uhuru in State House for me to feel secure in terms of financially. No, I don't. I do not need Uhuru to educate my children. No, I don't. So part of the reason why the entire country hinges heavily on ethnic extraction is because of our levels of poverty. The more a person is endowed financially and in terms of security financially, the more independent-minded they are. Trust me, Michael, your level of thinking and the way you conduct yourself in terms of how important your ethnic extraction is very different from that Mama Boga who acts out a living on daily basis but struggles to do that. It's different. You are a little bit independent-minded because you can afford to
Maybe there's more exposure.
Yes.
Dr. Mukhwana, you look like you wanted to disagree. Or
yes, I want to disagree with Alex. Yeah. But before that, I want to give credit to what you said, that apart from the politicians and the leaders, the ordinary Kenyan rarely benefits from these tribal or political appointments.
Correct.
I interact, by virtue of my training, I interact with almost every other tribe every day. My own house help is a Kikuyu, okay? Whereas you think that the Kikuyus, as the stereotype has been, cannot be trusted. I trust her with my children.
Correct.
Okay? And this is to say that at the lowest level, we are all struggling. We are all struggling. I know of our Kikuyu brothers and sisters who are even poorer than the Luyas, who are poorer than the Luos. So this concept that the Kikuyus have benefited from being in power for 20 years plus is not necessarily true. The people who have benefited is actually a club among the elite who have led this country, even among Central Province. I've worked in Murang'a, I've worked in Nyeri. So I agree with you when you say that at the lowest level, really, these political posts and political benefits really don't trickle down to us.
Correct.
However, I want to correct Alex that it is not true that when you have money and you are relatively wealthier, you stop being Kikuyu or being Luo. That's not correct. This issue of tribe is an orientation that has been planted in our minds right from independence. And without going into the ills or the merits of our pre-independence fathers and so forth, I think that come 2010, Michael, this country made the final bend by the promulgation of the Constitution of 2010. And how did it solve this? About poverty. The creation of the devolved units was going to create a fair distribution of resources from the center. Because the reason why there's all this clamor about my man must be the president is because the president is all-powerful. All resources were at the center. And so with the coming of devolution, all these resources were to be devolved down, and there was a clear criteria. And that is why, personally, I'm disappointed by the first breed of governors that we got. Because rather than understand that the devolved government was the best rescue for Wanjiku and so forth, some of them perpetuated what was at the center, so that you have the corruption that was at the center also being perpetuated to the devolved units. And that really has not delivered what devolution was expected to do. But never to worry, there are some governors who have done a good job. And there are some counties where you can see the benefits of devolution. So if this devolution had been left to run full stream, Michael, believe you me, this whole issue of tribe was going to wither with time. Because the concentration and focus now would not be on the president. The concentration and focus will be on this mini president in the county. But what have we seen? Again, you see that the central government is not very comfortable with the devolved governments, for whatever reasons. You find that the central government is again appearing to be clawing back the benefits of devolution, so that some of the functions which under the Constitution are supposed to be devolved, till today, they're
run by the national government.
They're run by the national government. And that is why we say, as citizens, let's be careful and let's hold these politicians to account. Those who went to power, whether they supported the Constitution or not, said they will support the Constitution.
They swore to defend the Constitution.
Thank you, Michael. So we must hold these politicians to account. Why are they clawing back the benefits of devolution? And Michael, that then brings us perhaps to the center of the topic of today. And I want to plead with you that today, let's not talk about NASA and Jubilee.
Correct.
Today, let's talk about the Election Amendment Bill of 2017.
Allow me to pause you there because I want us